Okay, sorry. Hi, everyone. Yay! Language and words and poetry and expression. That's what we're all about tonight, every night, all the time. And so we're really excited that you've joined us. My name is Hannibal. I am with Cafe Cultura. That's our name that we have right now. But we're actually looking to rename, to rebrand. We got a few suggestions from our last open mic around some names. And so we've been trying to kind of kick those around. We're probably going to have another meeting. Oh, there, I can hear myself now too. We're going to have another meeting in order to kind of bring people together to really formalize a renaming process. So we really want to get some input. You know, just to be honest, we've kind of been stuck like creatively with the board and other people and the names that we've been kind of mulling around. So we really want to hear from you. We want to get your thoughts on renaming. We have some ideas and we can kind of bring those up and see what you all think. But anyways, so we are here. Thank you so much. This is our second open mic that we've had in this space, and it's really exciting to see some people who have been here before, new people. Anyone new to just open mic in general? Anyone never been to one, or this is their first time to a Cafe Cultura one? Anybody? Oh, okay. Oh, a few people. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. We're so excited that you're here. And we hope that you come back and continue to share your words, your thoughts, and share the space with us. So we're going to get started. I'm going to be your host tonight. My name is Hannibal. I'm going to do my formal introduction in Navajo to show to gain my relations and be able to see how I'm related to other people and also to speak to the Creator and open ourselves in a good way. And so yat she Hannibal Blui and she Klaichinishlin do Bilagana Bashichin do Tetnizani Deshache do Bilagana Deshanelli. My clan is a Red Bottom clan born for Bilagana or Anglo. My maternal grandparents' clan is the Tangle People clan, and my paternal grandparents are also Bilagana or Anglo. I'm so excited that you've been here, and we welcome you to our space and to our family and to our just to be friends and stuff too. So all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We have some amazing performers tonight. Oh my gosh, I was looking at this list and I was just so excited about who we have. We also have an amazing feature who we're gonna bring up later. And yeah, so we're gonna just jump off and get started. So I'm gonna call up, I think the first person said that they were out, but I'm gonna call up the first person on the open mic list. I think we have Ricardo Bogert. So let's give a round of applause for Ricardo. And Ricardo is an engineer and a poet, and he shared his lovely poetry with us during our first open mic here in this space. So let's give it up for our second timer.
Tonight, I'm actually from Dominican Republic, but I have lived more years in the United States. Before I read my poems, I would like first to thank Café Cultura and also Denver Open Media for the opportunity to read to you a few poems. I'm going to read first the serious one, and then two that are perhaps softer. The first poem that I have is actually related to what is going on nowadays. Is the Iran-USA boiling point situation that may end up in a war. And I wrote these stanzas about that. I want to give, I'm sorry, I'm saying too much. So anyway, this has 7 stanzas, and each stanza has 5 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5, 7, 7. This is a tanka that was first used in Japan. Iron, USA at boiling point. 1, Mr. Trump, you have to stir up the killer bees with your airplane carrier. You can always achieve more with honey money than wrath. 2, how many soldiers will you turn to sand to prove arrogance is the method to apply by force to Middle East inferno? 3, Afghanistan, South, Vietnam, Iraq, those hard lessons forgotten. What's the cause for us to be stern arbiter of the well. 4, you promise hell for Iran if it doesn't abide by your iron will. They rather choose paradise than to be your whip servants. 5, I would like to give you a reference here. About 30 years ago, an Iranian plane with 290 passengers was shot down by a U.S. warship. Interestingly enough, the United States never apologized for that tragic mistake. So here it goes. 5, United States advised airlines not to fly over Iran. Now tell me, Mr. Trump, who shot down an Iranian plane killing all passengers? 6, Iran fought for 8 blood years against Iraq and sacrificed willingly its youth. Mr. Trump, you want to fight mad beasts that protect their hive? And here's the last stanza. 7, let's pray to Allah, Jehovah, or Gaia to please illuminate both presidents and avoid an unnecessary war. I actually have some copies of this poem available for anybody that is interested, okay? Okay, now let's change the tone to something lighter. I'm going to read these poems first in English so you know what I'm talking about, and then in Spanish. And it's actually dedicated to my wife, Laura. Your black panties. Your faithfulness is an eternal fire in my head, but your black panties drive me wild again. Your love is superbly growing in my soul, but your black panties capture my night whole. Still love that. Your heart is a fountain for my thirsty heart, but your black panties blind me with raging desire. I got some brownie poems of that one. Your sensible mind guides my absent-minded behavior, but your black panties surpass any logic. Your curvaceous body is a treasure to caress, but your black panties are a living temple. Okay. And notice that this was dedicated to my wife, and she knows about it. Okay. Do you want to listen to the Spanish version of this? Okay. Tus panties negros. Yeah, you got it now. I like it. Okay. Para mi esposa Laura. Tu lealtad es un fuego eterno en mi cabeza, pero tus panties negros me vuelven salvaje de nuevo. Tu amor crece estupendo en mi alma, pero tus panties negros capturan mi noche por completo. Tu corazón es una fuente para mi corazón sediento, pero tus panties negros me ciegan con deseos desatados. Tu mente sensible guía mi comportamiento olvidadizo, pero tus panties negros sobrepasan cualquier lógica. Tu cuerpo curvilíneo es un tesoro acariciante, pero tus panties negros son un templo viviente. Okay, and this is a short one, and this is but again, I'm going to read it first in English and then in Spanish. The title is Burning. I'm not a rabid dog. I'm not a neuter cat. I'm just the man burning with passion. Don't want to write about gardens. Don't want to write about wars. Just want to write about the dragon in me. Don't need to talk with sense. Don't need to speak clearly. Just need the tsunami in my soul. I'm not a graceful gazelle. I'm not a bloody vulture. I'm just the hawk in the shadow of your heart. ¿ok? Ah, y aquí ese mismo poema, pero en español. Y esto es lo último que voy a recitar. Encendido. No soy un perro rabioso, no soy un gato castrado, soy simplemente el hombre encendido de pasión. No quiero escribir sobre jardines, no quiero escribir sobre guerras. Quiero simplemente escribir sobre el dragón en mí. No necesito conversar con lógica, no necesito hablar claramente, simplemente necesito un maremoto en mi alma. No soy una no soy una graciosa gacela, no soy un buitre sangriento, simplemente soy el corazón en la sombra de tu corazón. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
All right, let's give it up one more time for our second timer. That was awesome. All right, so I just want to pause here. We have a few more people who are signing up on the open mic, which is great. We're really excited to hear your words and share your rhymes and your wisdom. And ooh, here's my Vanna. Awesome. But I just wanted to kind of just mention our open mic space and the space that we like to create. We are totally drug and free alcohol space for our shows and for our events. We really take that as a value, but we also really like to focus on the youth, and we'd love to have some, if you know young people who are interested in this, we'd love to have you bring them. We'd love to always try to center and have our young people, be able to, I was in second grade when I learned about poetry, and I remember just being so excited about having this new way of expressing myself. And I had this poem that was it was super cheesy. It was like fun in the sun in the summer, but they put it on the front of our yearbook, like in second grade. It was amazing, and so I have a copy of that. But it just inspired me, and throughout my life, it's always been something that's really grounded me. It's really, given me strength and motivation, and we just want to continue that tradition and that really great value that we have with our youth. So please bring some young people out to this event and encourage them to take part in sharing our wisdom. Can you hear that? It's like, that was epic. That was like mic drop or something. I don't know. Maybe I just need to stay. I don't know. Maybe I got to stay a little farther away. I'm not sure. I kind of like it, though, because it makes it sound like, it sounds epic, right? Okay. So we're going to have our next person come up. Let's give a round of applause. I'm not sure what the last name is, but Fernando? Is Fernando here? Let's bring up Fernando. Woo!
Hello, 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 hello. Let's take a look at this. Boom. So this next piece is about something I feel guilty about, and I haven't apologized for it yet. So, I'm Fernando Gomez, and I was not born a nice person. Now, that's a serious concern for most anyone to have, but for someone who has spent his life developing a relative utilitarian ethical system, while concurrently trying to teach my daughter about good and wrong, that can be quite devastating. Fortunately, I believe that there's hope for those born like me. I believe that kindness can be brought about through intelligence as well, not just innately. So I have learned to be kind. That's what's in the best interest for me. I first learned about my problem when I was young during Christmas, the happiest time for any child, right? Christmas time. However, it began with the sound of bones breaking, a sharp ringing, and a lightning shooting up the nerves of my arm until it reached the back of my skull. My mom was on the floor of our driveway. The imitation Pyrex container filled with tamales lay next to her cracked open. Her eyes were open. Her pain was confused and mouthed a suffocated moan that begged to know why it was betrayed. I turned back and said, "Pues muévete." Not knowing that telling her to just move would create a chain of event for those two words in my memory. So it was 3:30 in the morning. We had just returned from our annual Christmas Eve dinner in Juarez, Mexico. She was the first and only member of her family to get a green card, so we crossed over often. I hated it. My uncles and cousins would make fun of me for not knowing proper Spanish. Hablas como un gringo, they would taunt me when I would mix in English words in Spanish. They would ask me if I thought I was better than them. I was 6. I never answered them, but I think they knew that the answer was ultimately yes. But that's not what made me hate it. It was Christmas Eve, and tradition allowed my cousins to open up all their Christmas presents at midnight. My mother wouldn't bring any of my Christmas presents with us. So we were poor, but we were American poor, which is different than Mexican poor. So, we could afford a 3-bedroom home, while my grandfather in Juarez had to build their home from material that's around the floor. So cardboard walls weren't uncommon. So we don't want to show off and make them feel bad, my mother would rationalize. So I stood there paralyzed, holding my breath as the clock struck 12. A frenzy of shredding wrapping paper filled the living room. Laughter and surprised oohs and ahs drowned out Feliz Navidad and the Spanish dub version of It's a Wonderful Life that played in the background. My mom would say, "What's wrong with you?" I would say, "Nothing." "Then go play with your primos and their shiny new toys." So I didn't move. So she yanked me closer and whispered, "Pues muévete," as she pinched my arm. "Pues muévete." So it continued to resonate and echo in the darkest regions of my being. Pues muévete. That's what I told her. My older brother ran to help my mom up. She yelped in pain and stayed paralyzed on the floor. She had tripped getting out of my brother's car, and it was my duty to help her get out of the car. My duty to hold her hand, but I didn't hold her hand. So the ambulance came when we couldn't get her to stand, and we spent Christmas at the hospital. My mom broke her hip in 2 different places and almost lost her right leg as it hung from its nervous system. It took a year for her to walk without crutches. She never really fully recovered. She walked with a limp and her health declined after her accident, but no one ever blamed me. As she was rushed to the hospital, the paramedics asked who was to blame. Era un accidente desafortunado. It was an unfortunate accident, my mom said. The 2 white paramedics didn't believe her and accused her of being drunk. My family was shamed by that accusation, yet I stayed quiet. No one ever asked me why I didn't take her hand. I wouldn't know how to answer, but one thing I do know is that I am to blame. The jealousy, anger, and resentment that came easily that night did not help me. It wasn't in my best interest. It created this shame and guilt that pulsed inside of me with every tender step my mom took since that day. I hid it and saw how my mom never questioned her unfortunate accident. She protected me. I realized I was not born with her kindness. I don't feel the same ache when I see a child fall and scrape their knee or when there's an oil spill in the Atlantic. But I learned to rationalize what must be done, what should not be done, and I can calculate, and the answer is kindness. That's when it's the best interest of the world, and subsequently, it's the best interest of me. So I can protect the good. I can't protect it now, even though I wasn't born with kindness. Let me do another one. This one's called Mother's Milk. My daughter asked me, "Why am I brown?" It was a question destined to be examined only at twilight during the tragic time before bedtime, when even a child's anxiety and trepidation surges over their mind. I was conscious my response had the authority to crystallize and transfix the moment upon her. Gloom or radiance will be the forgotten charm that will be impressed in her unconscious dreams and continue to echo in her ears of her own children. For my daughter's mother was denied her own mother's affection, tainted placenta, disappointment from the womb, invisible in the grounds of her gloomier skin. Her mother would only succeed in loving her in pieces. So for my daughter, her mom, her own mother would tease her how she resembled her father. As a young woman, her mother would announce proudly how men would lust for her and not her daughter, all because of her ultimate possession, her white skin. My daughter's mother condemned her own features, her wide-nosed, and praised the small scar which never healed because she would eat the chocolate off the crevice. Her dark elbows and knees were furiously scrubbed in baths, hoping, always hoping it would liberate finer skin. She tired of standing in her window ledge, facing the cold, moonless night, feeling dismayed when she witnessed or overheard the suffering of others. Ultimately, veiled under her long, dark hair, her fate was settled. Validation found in waves of static on AM radio stations. My daughter's mother remained there, in miscarriage, in marriage, and in motherhood. A kind woman, a brave woman, but ultimately a self-evicted woman. So yes, this question was a threat, not from the outside world, but for those fatal threats from within. My daughter asked again, "Why am I brown?" I answered, "Because you were not denied your mother's milk."
Bravo.
That's it. Thanks.
Boy, party hard, I wasn't ready mentally. I dropped bills to pop the pain pills I buy with temporary.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great. All right, we have more people coming in. Just an FYI, watch your step. There's a little like chord thing. I've fallen on it like 3 times already, so watch your step. All right, so we're gonna have the next person come up. I think he just came back in. Oh man, that like epic thing is just, I'm into it though. I like it. All right, we're gonna have Roland Alarid come up. Let's give it up for Roland.
My name is Roland Alarid. I was born here in Denver, raised in Brighton. There's 7 of us brothers and 3 sisters.
Wow.
3 of my brothers are teachers. I just graduated from Community College of Aurora. Colorado Film School. Colorado Film School. I'm going to start it out kind of light right now. It's something I'm making a video out of. Jesse, works in the studios, Studio A, Studio B. Of course, Studio B has green screen, and it's a beautiful place to do movies. We'll probably do our movie in green screen. Name of this, I'm a writer, and I have a lot of story content. This one is Outrageous, Contagious Harry. He had a nose like a cherry and lips like blueberries. He was very hairy. Outrageous, Contagious Harry was ragged, and as his pants sagged to the floor, then he zipped up his door. He was only human like any woman, and he liked to eat. Everything was a treat, tender and sweet. Harry was funny. When he jumped like a bunny, he looked like a rag doll as he'd roll like a ball, rolling up and rolling down, rolling all around. He would sit up and stare, point up high in the air at the clouds in the sky and wonder why. He was up in a flash when he looked through the trash. A dumpster diver was he. As he was piling, you could see him smiling. Hee hee. He was short and he looked so cool, but he looked like a fool. Looked kind of odd, like a flower pod. Some people say he was not all there. And Harry would say, "How can I be all there when I'm all here?" As he sat in the chair, "When I'm all here, not to disappear, drinking a beer." He looked like a mess as he tried to undress. As he would confess, he would do his best to look like the rest, but he had a very hairy chest. Harry was dirty, and yes, he was flirty, but he was never serious, but usually delirious. He was weird in the herd, and they claimed he smelled like a turd. Harry was outrageous when he threw a fart. He said it came from his heart. Harry said it was pickles and dill, and it gave him a thrill. As he laughed in all faces, he said it had nuclear traces. He would jump high in the tree. He said to be free. Free in the air, never in despair. Harry was outrageous, but he was contagious. He would start snoring. People would start roaring. Laughing and crying, some said he would almost start flying. Some people would say, would lay on the ground rolling, historical like bowling. Outrageous Harry was a character, like a clown, upside down, running around. He would roll and play like he was in the hay with nothing to say. The animals would come around as he lay on the ground, and some would even frown. People thought Harry had no sense when he kept them in suspense. Then he was up like a rocket, searching his pocket, not in disgrace, but with a funny face. He was outrageous, contagious Harry, kind of scary, colorful and cute. Rich to boot, but with no loot. Harry was crazy, lazy and hazy, but never a runt. He was up front, never pretending to be what he wasn't, because he wasn't his cousin. Harry started changing. When Harry started changing, he started rearranging because he wanted a woman that was only human to hold and to care and to comb his mangy hair. He needed the comfort of home and maybe a phone. Harry's life was changing.
Give him one more round of applause. All right, I just want to point out a few things. If you need to use a restroom, it's around the corner, through the door, past where the snacks are. There's also snacks. If anyone needs any snacks, they're over there in the area. I'm actually going to I'm going to pause here. We're going to have a kind of brief pause in our poets. And I'm actually going to bring up Desiree to talk about a community organization, some information that she wants to share with you all. We have partners that we like to partner with, and we are going to be able to have one of our partners share some information about the organization that she works with. So let's give a round of applause for Desiree.
Hello, good evening. Yate, Deishini Shlento Tapahan Bashishin, but I need to Yank Sudashnale. Hello, my name is Desiree. I am the star of the Rogue people born for the Water's Edge clan. My maternal grandparents are the Folded Arms people. My paternal grandparents are the Yankton Nakota tribe people. I'm originally from Arizona. I am a mom, a wife. I also am a community worker here in Denver. So I just moved back in September. I work for the Native youth. And one of my coworkers here, Rose, stand at Rose. Yes, so we both work for the same organization. How many of you have heard of Spirit of the Sun? Yeah, Spirit of the Sun? Okay, just one. This is my part-time job to my other part-time job. And so this is Spirit of the Sun. We do financial fitness for the Native youth throughout Denver, and they recently moved from Westminster to down by Cheeseman Park. We're also trying to focus on indigenous arts and culture programs and also doing yoga with the students. And so, yep, this is our organization. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask myself or Rose. We have our cards available, and if you ever want to volunteer, we're actually having a silent auction coming up, and then If you want to donate, we're also taking donations too. But thank you so much for letting us do our spiel about our organization here. So yeah, I'm the Youth Outreach and Engagement Coordinator. I just say I work for the youth. It's all the time. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. All right, so we'll go back to our programming. So let's bring up Mateo. Give a round of applause for Mateo.
I think it's too late already, but I'm begging you, try for me. You guys got pull, you
Second
do.
Timer was our feature last time and brought some amazing poetry to our space. So give it up for Mateo.
Thank you. LOL. Okay. Goodbye, chair. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be back. I'm gonna be sharing one of the pieces that I shared previously, and then just one very short, tiny little poem. I'm repeating the one that I read last time because I just really want one of my friends to hear it. I don't know why I want them to hear this piece, just cause. Yeah, they're both really emo and they're about heartbreak, so you know. 'Tis the season, so. All right, here we go. Cool, whatever. We used to say our love was cosmic. Your last letter to me, a hand-traced rendition of Tezcatlipoca on a bright orange placard, said we felt ancient together. You wrote that you'd had a dream. You, me, on a beach in San Francisco with him. You didn't know what that meant, but you knew I had always wanted to move to California and that he was the Aztec god of self-reflection. I knew how much you loved the sea. You had hoped he could help me through whatever I was going through. You always spoke like that, simple yet understanding, a contrast to my constant noise and need to comprehend. I remember our trip to San Francisco, where you held my hand at the edge of the Pacific and said, I want you to meet my mother. The clouds parted and the ocean grew warm at our feet as if to offer us her blessing. I thought of the oceans our parents, our ancestors had crossed for us to meet, how warmly they must have smiled down on us then. I think of the blessings our mothers gave us, your mom shuffling hurriedly around the house, uneasy with premonition. You asked, ¿Qué traes, mamá? And she answered with her maternal intuition, Tú y Mateo se van a casar. I think of my mom giving us a ride back to your house when she joked we might adopt children and give them a good home if you didn't want to bear them. And in this quiet way, I knew she liked you too. So if our love was cosmic, and I do believe it was, then our break was all the more earth-shattering. I've struggled to write this poem, this epic, for the past year since. It was never easy for me to write a love poem for you, as I am a perfectionist at heart, so I wrote so many it pains me you may never get to see. To string together our love into a coherent composition would have been to imply our love was anything but timeless. It was a crisscrossing of lifetimes I could never contain. Truth be told, I never thought we would end, so I never thought to write one. Part of me still doesn't believe we have. As we used to say, time doesn't exist. But as indignant as I am only human, and the grief I have felt for your loss has been one of the greatest wonders of my world and demands I approximate the feeling nonetheless. So, we were two astronauts plunging headfirst into the sun. And wasn't it so warm? You made my heart leap. I would have broiled just to be close to you. I paid no attention to the warning signs, this radioactive heat threatening to poison us, destroy us if we flew too close. I had never felt a touch light and pure as yours. Past loves had heavy hands, left me sun-seared. My skin grew thick as scars. If it were up to me, I would have held on till we became stardust. We were two astronauts headed straight into oblivion, a place you knew we wouldn't come back from. Thank you. Thank you for leaving before we burned out, before there was nothing left to come back for. The day you left me, a chain broke our gridlock. You bounded one way, I the other, us, two astronauts cut from the shuttle. You said, I love you and want to keep loving you, time and place willing. But we can't do this right now, the way we both are. I remember our last kiss in front of your house. I looked first at your closed eyes, then the darkness surrounding your silhouette, the sun dipping low and out of reach. How cold I felt then, the heartache deep as lineage torn by the seams, my shame bitter as your mother's tears when you broke the news. I didn't know how to tell my mom, so it took me a week. ¿Todavía no se amaban? She asked me. Didn't you two still love each other? As if love were so simple for families like ours. We were both just depressed and we weren't growing anymore. It takes more than love to stay together. This is what I said. My mother, in a depressed marriage for over 30 years, did not understand, and she has asked no more questions. We tried to remain friends for 2 months after our break, and I kept my distance. For as much as I longed for you, the temptation to rebound never trumped the respect that I had for you, the desire I had for the both of us to grow. A self-destructive hookup could have never compared to the beautiful love we shared. I regret trying to talk about what went wrong before the dust had settled. I was stubborn as a magnet, trying hard to connect, but you, repelled from me, bounded the other way. How naive to think I could process your loss in a mere 2 months, what has taken me a revolution around the sun to accept, to try, once again, to twist fate and my intuitions for an idealistic vision. For as beautiful as our love was, and even if you returned, we will never be the same. We can't be. And this, I know now, is for the best. And then I just have one more, and then I'll skedaddle on out. Cool. So this one, it's a pretty self-explanatory poem. It's just about a gift that that ex that I had written that piece about had given me. And it's kind of like tying together the same themes of like space and, you know, whatever my dramatic ass wrote. Yeah, so this one is called The Tale of How the Moon Swallowed the Sun and Burst into Flames. Above my bed used to hang the paper mache mosaic you bought me in Cuba. A colorful portrait of the moon cresting the sun. Subconsciously, my brain came to see your likeness in her visage. Full figure, long lash strokes, deep red lipstick, a mystic look painted in her single eye. Hanging below her, on an array of strings, a star, jubilant and beaming, with a bright-eyed fish and a playful seahorse. I picked up the moon, her star, and her creatures, and I tucked them away into a dark nightstand. I put out their light. I do not yet know if I will burn them or let their faces collect dust. When all of this is said and done, and I have moved on, I guess a death by dust or ashes is the same fate anyway. Strange, isn't it? The sun never got a face.
Why is it important that the American people understand?
That was great. Thank you so much. Some of the things that we try to do with this space is really promote for people, not just creative expression and just the way that they want to express, you know, how they're feeling and their experiences, but also cultural pride, you know, in our language and, you know, our heritage and our ancestors. And I just love the mix of poems and knowledge and experience that we're hearing tonight. So thank you. We're going to keep it going. So let's bring up Charlie Mendoza. Where's Charlie? All right, give it up for Charlie. Charlie was our host last time. Woot woot.
Y'all can hear me, right? All right, cool. I'm not going to mess with the mic. But anyway, how's everyone doing? Good? Nice. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep. Again, lovely. Anyway, let me get this up. Da-da-da-da. Any day now. Nope. There it is. Gotta love technology. So great. Okay. Alright, I guess we'll do it this way. Alright, so this is a new piece. I haven't written anything since March, when it was my birthday, because I broke my foot. And then it's not related to this at all. I just wanted to mention that to break the ice. But anyway. Hey, 2 months late. But anyway. All right. Denver, I can tell you my name, my hopes, maybe even my fears, maybe my dreams, or perhaps even the tattooed social security number that jaggedly sits across my forehead, but a simple street intersection will do. I grew up in a house where laughter and shouting still cling to the walls, where every night I can see the shadows move and talk, retelling old stories built and made in this tiny brown hogar. I never thought I was poor, and I still don't. Every day there was food on the table and a warm bed to dream in. My mom and pops, una guerrera chingona que no tiene ni un solo pelo en la lengua y un guerrero huevonaida que lo que le falta de tatema tiene más con su corazón que no tiene fronteras. I consider myself the black sheep of my family because I am talked about, but I'm usually never am talked to. Where my only family outside my parents I grew to know was the simple street intersection that took me in, that taught me how to kick, insert groseria here, and take names while making huge gains through this white world that only seeks to cause you pain if you don't look or think the same. Alameda and Feds, Alameda y Federal, my surrogate aunt and uncle, where if you walk a few blocks from where I slept towards the west, you can taste the best from what the Far East Center has to offer, desde fried pulpos hasta sweet and savory durians, the gateway to my backyard, where I learned how to read and write Spanish, deciphering Tom and Jerry comics, while being on garbage duty with my mama, cleaning the nearby Westwood projects. To the north, that's where I call my front yard. Just a light walk from the dinner table, Columbine Homes is where I learned how to properly use this thing they call the digital network, back then when it was dial-up, before it was this thing called el mentado Wi-Fi, where I remember getting those annoying runs at that old hamburger stand across from 7-Eleven, from devouring their chili cheese dogs with my homies after school, where I learned how to cultivate not only my mind, but my alma, seeing how it's like living on the other side of the coin, teaching young kids about the small things we call life. Where I remember finding my love for brightening people's days with my unique sense of humor. En español se llama pensatividades because I can't say any groserías while I'm up on this stage. To the east, the old schoolyards I used to claim as my own. Valverde, where I learned how to code switch, but didn't understand as to why my parents didn't want me to learn Spanish until I began to learn cuss words and be blessed by the sacred, holy, divine, leather-bound chancla. KIPP Sunshine Peak Academy, where I started to learn about my own historia, mi gente, and my native cultura, noticing my words were more powerful than my fists, as I avoided being on any bully's to-do list with a quick flick of my rainbow silver tongue. KIPP Denver Collegiate High School, where I started to see how I was being placed on a pedestal as a model student, with the perks that gave me, showing me how this playing field is already unequal based off of test scores without taking into account the chores given by this society, changing each student's reality accordingly. And of course, East High School, where I hit my icy cold rock bottom to the point where I didn't want to even eat or drink, too caught up on thinking about myself and whether or not to just end my story right then and there, but I didn't. To the south, the pride and joy that makes my corazón skip a few beats, remembering the anchor that kept me from being swept away as another unfortunate cuento de tristeza, exactly 5 blocks down from where, exactly 5 blocks down from where I would feel overwhelmed by the world, and eventually that would turn into fury, that leading to damn sadness as I slowly bring myself to recall this. Desde walking my first pup up and down those familiar streets just to take into the view of that great green smelly lake, to where I would think of new ways to get back home before the street lights would turn on, the classic call before I would get the chancla thrown to the back of my head as if I wasn't back before then. There we go. To where a cube of ICE agents broke my heart on February 11th, 2012 at 5:47 a.m. Alameda y Federal, my adopted abuelito and abuelita, who showed me the beauty and truth about living as a brown person in America. Alameda, con su cine y librería up in Belmar, places where I could escape to anywhere on a budget, through musty, used, crinkly pages, or even through a cushioned Century seat, sipping on that fizzy, refreshing Coca-Cola, not the same as the ones down in Mexico. Federal, con la cultura, where on one side of the street I can see all the Asian shops and raza barrios, and on the other I can smell the burnt rubber, as cada domingo gente would come together and hacer what my parents still call today un desmadre, forbidding me from even going. That's what they thought. Dos calles diverged in a white supremacist world where I represent los dos con todo mi corazón. I can tell you my name, my hopes, my fears, maybe even my dreams, or even the tattooed social security number that jaggedly sits across my forehead. But a simple street intersection will do more justice. And there we go.
Indian celebration continued.
Awesome. Let's give it up one more time. Woo! Charlie. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge, we did this last time, so we want to kind of continue this tradition, acknowledge the traditional land of the indigenous peoples on which we stand and which we sit, the Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Ute tribes, and we do like to do land recognitions in order to honor the indigenous peoples of the territory and that we are visitors, and to walk amongst the land and the ancestors and the spirits respectfully. So wanted to do that. Let's keep it going. Let's bring up Alejandro. Let's give it up for Alejandro.
How's it going, y'all? Great. 4 of you are awake. So here's this poem. A little bit of context. Sometimes I always end up being like in my places of work, like the only brown person in the staff, right? And that sucks. So this poem's called Brown and White Spaces. Brown and white spaces. I usually sit quietly, arms crossed, legs crossed, till head to the right. They say, "You look aggressive." I usually lock eyes with someone, nod and smile. This makes them feel uneasy. I'm just trying to be courteous. Brown and white spaces is like unfold arms, place hands where we can see them, spread legs, look like a traffic stop, hide confidence behind a wall, unfurl your smile like open land, manifest destiny. Brown and white spaces is like, how did you get here? I drove. No. How did you get here? I mean, why are you here? What is your immigration story? Make us cry, serve our table, be worker, not creator. Can you roll your R's? Can you salsa? I've been to Cancun and Cabo. I have a Venezuelan friend. Have you had the hookers in Tijuana yet? I am not a racist, but we are a country of laws. I think people like your poems because of your accent. You are so well spoken. Brown and white spaces is like affirmative action is an obstacle for hardworking Americans. You finished college in 4 years. You've never been to jail, not even a speeding ticket. What do you mean indigenous? What do you mean Cinco de Mayo is not your Independence Day? How come Puerto Ricans are citizens but not you? Have you watched Coco? Do you want to come to our Day of the Dead party? They say, I love Frida Kahlo. I say, she's dope. And she was also culturally appropriating, they say. Why can't we just get along? Why can't we just celebrate diversity? Why does everything have to be about race? We all bleed the same knot. Not when our bodies are canvases for police paintbrushes. Brown and white spaces is like, I bite my tongue a lot. Means I swallow my pride. Means I cough up blood, means I don't want to be noticed, means my voice disappears and all my celebrations turn into search parties, means I hate this part of the American dream, means I choose my battles, means I hate war metaphors, means I have to constantly humanize myself to others. Brown in white spaces means nothing if people who look like us are placed or elected to positions of power to uphold whiteness. Brown in white spaces is like, I have to be loud and quiet, sharp and dull, rough and delicate, means self-preservation, balancing on a tightrope, means sometimes I am called a sellout, means I am called a coconut, brown on the outside, white on the inside, means nowhere is home, means sometimes I want to put my tongue in a casket and bury it, means I am getting extremely good at loving myself. Brown in white spaces is like, I'm a river, means I crossed your border, means I'm avoiding your prison, I'm no red stained canvas from your paintbrush, means I took my time walking across that stage, means I collected your degree, means my whole family showed up, means they took up space, means they were loud and unruly. Brown in white spaces means I am not unfolding my arms, I'm not uncrossing my legs, I'm going to nod and smile, make you quiver, means I'm going to exist in this space, in this body, undeniably brown.
Let's give it up for Alejandro! I totally resonated with that poem. I don't know how to put this down. My dad came to my graduation at Harvard, and he brought a cowbell. And he was the only one with a cowbell, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. But the people I was graduating with were like so embarrassed for me, but I was so excited. That was amazing. Thank you, Alejandro. All right, so we have an amazing feature coming up just in a few minutes, but we do want to get through the rest of our open mic list, which has been amazing so far. So thank you to all who have shared. Please feel free to sign up for the next ones. We have a few more spots left for today, and we encourage you to just keep writing, keep expressing yourselves through, outside of the space so that you can come back and share your amazing words and your thoughts and your inspiration with us all. So we're going to bring up someone who signed up a little later, Kat Cuncio. So let's give it up for Kat. Woo! Oh, she's right here. Yay!
Hi, everyone. I signed my friend up first, so I'm confused. I have 3 short poems, most of them really having to do with my journey and my faith. Finding my voice after getting it taken away from me. But first, I always like to start with just breathing together. I spoke to God, and she told me, if ever you feel alone or not loved, just remember that your life is a testament to my love for you, and your breath is your lifeline. So if I can just ask us to please breathe 3 times together, deep breaths, and then I can start. So 2 more. And 1 more. I'm also pregnant, so this will help later. So this first one is called Coincidences. There are no coincidences. Consciousness brushes the nape of your being. You decide when to tune in. Listen. Listen to what it is she wants you to see. See what it is she wants you to feel. Believe in the flesh that you have been given. This dimension is real. Water, follow the river to the flames of your existence. Marry your heart to the clumps of grounds that have been dropped off by the skies. Gray matter with all the tints of the rainbow, should you choose to cake yourself in color. And then I have these poems. This one's just a 2-part. This was when, first part, my faith was just shaky. I get to that place sometimes, and I feel like, and then I forget to pray. And then the second part is I was feeling better. There's a rumbling in the sky. Faith is knocking on my door, and she's asking for commitment. And I can't tell you why I'm still wavering, because I, of all people, have witnessed thousands of her miracles. I've tasted the dew from her morning rays and have bathed in her crystal baths. I've wrapped myself in her blanket of stars and have been intimate with love at every level. Friends, family, even strangers. She is neither demanding nor vengeful. She simply hands me a list of facts scripted neatly on a mirror, plum ink blotched with pure intention. I raise the mirror, and faced with faith, I read, "Trust, I was the strength that found you before you found yourself. Trust, I was the light when you eclipsed into a shadow and eloped with your demons, even for just one night. And trust, it is I who swims in the pool of your veins, who dances in your eyes' glaze. I've made pilgrimages over the wet cracks of your smile." Before I could say anything, Faith nodded warmly with one last message to share. Be true to yourself in developing your heart. Only then will I know the answer. Will you commit? This is part 2. The pendulum swing. I think I got it now. We're learning. Fuck self-conscious, because consciousness is the only way I've known myself, period. Have patience, because if you haven't met your soul yet, knowing that is proof enough that she is on her way. Believe. Be grateful that the life you lead knows the life you breathe, and it's moving you higher into ascension. Liberate. Be honored that there is no way but up, and even these hiccups are calculated roundabouts taking the scenic route to only God knows where. Be humble. Fight ego with light and celebrate yourself, because you are God's creation and our faces were molded with the fingerprints of the great Creator. Believe and give love, not the earthly kind that's committed to reciprocity, but the kind your heart speaks before mine gets a hold of it. When your ego says less, do more. Balance. Again, have patience. The path that is made, the road that is long and the road is long and windy, but the path that is made straight is too man-made and exists in the dwellings of the ego. You are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly who you need to be. But you knew that, didn't you? And my last one, thank you. I usually dedicate this to all the sisters in the room, but I want to dedicate it specifically to the mothers because I had no idea. She lends herself to the universe like Moses to the river, a faith with no quiver. The mountains will not shift. The most dangerous aftershocks, heartburns, and kicked rocks, metamorphosis, indigenous, sentimentally, my women, raise your head. Our souls are not the pyramid schemes built by man, but the seams of this earth that give birth, literally. How can I tell you that we hold the world in our own eyes? I said, how can I tell you that we hold the world in our own eyes? Our hands are the extensions of ancient tree branches, ancestors living in every fiber of our breasts. Our hair, the leaves, the bushes, and weeds, weaves the children into their being, the spirits of infinite lifetimes. Mama, may I please thank you for this life. Thank you.
Give it up one more time. That was beautiful. Woo! Okay, we wanted to mention this new open mic space in our time. We're on the 4th Friday of every month, and I like to say 4 is very sacred in our Navajo culture. So 4th Friday of every month is super sacred. So we're super sacred today, and we'll be super sacred next month. And so please come June 28th, 4th Friday, next month, every month. And we have, if you want to be able to share information about your organization and want to share that, you can do that. You can reserve a table so that you can vend, and if you create jewelry or any other fun materials that you want to share with us, please feel free to also let us know and grab a table. All right, we have a few more open mic spots, and then we'll go on to our feature. In the future, we'll go on to our feature. All right, let's now bring up Dave Aston. Where's Dave? Give it up for Dave. Dave works in this building, so, well, thank you for allowing us to be in your space. Yeah.
Well, this is our space, and thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to come on and talk to you about my problems, because usually when you do that to your volunteer base, they're like, I'm not here for that. So last month I was informing you guys that I'm going through like a really hard breakup. Just want to update you on that. She found a good apartment, and so she'll be moving out on the 1st. Life continues. But within that process, recently she was like, we should spend some time outside of the house so we should get to know each other a little better. And I'm like, we've been together for 5 years. You know who I am. You just don't really like it. You know what I'm saying? So instead of talking about breakups, I'm going to talk to you guys about who I am and do a couple joints for you. So I'm a rapper, and, it's a specific type of poetry. And the first thing I'll do for you is off my first record, came out in 2001. It's called Paranoid B-Boy, parenthetically 13th Street, but it has nothing to do about any type of gang associations. It's written within, I recorded it in Denver, but it's about my life in Chicago. So it starts out with the whispered chorus, like, paranoid B-boy, unemployed android, leaning on the wall so I don't fall into the void. Paranoid B-boy, unemployed android, leaning on the wall so I don't fall into the void. Paranoid B-boy, unemployed android, leaning on the wall so I don't fall into the void. Paranoid, unemployed, leaning on the wall so I don't fall. I was standing on 13th Street with a baker's dozen of donuts on size 13 feet, computing the components of a righteous number. Slumbering, slouching, up against the wall, foul lyrics I'm mouthing. In my mind, it's a girl I know, no clothes. She visits in the vision, simulates like no dose. She doesn't even know my intention. I never mention, but when I see her, I make her feel the tension of lust. A bus passes this at number 13. Rise to awareness out of my dream. Surprise. I got careless, kids will scheme, but truth in all fairness, they ain't sweating my lean. The sunbeams are baking me, making me red. I laugh, a white devil with a horny head. My math is 7 + 6, the 1 to the 3, 13. Heaven, hell, don't matter to me. Out of habit, I'm sparking a square, starting to stare. Across 13th Street, the Martians are there. They hover above the heads of fatherless kids on the corners acting crazy, preparing for bids in the pokey. Guy like me, play it low key. Though the feds know me, I watch them patrol me. They want to control we, but I'm out in the open, and I ain't doing sucker. Just keep scoping, hoping that tough luck, I'm too tight. You want to shut me down, yet I'm shedding the light. Armageddon's a fight for your soul, but you know that I'm looking at my life through a donut hole. So I dig in the bag and I chomp on a chocolate on 13th Street, earning my doctorate. Not to get deep, but my mind is a cycle. A stealing from this fool Michael. You make me psycho. Don't take it light though, cause I'm darker than Peter Parker in his new suit or permanent markers. I'm too cute to slave for a wage on my days. So while I'm waiting tables underneath them, I get paid. Corrupt, but I don't give a what. I'm trying to live it up. I'll never make it off the street without getting stuck. So come what may, I'm in the sun rays. The 13th of May, and it fell on a Friday. I got to do this my way. I got to do this my way. And I'm a paranoid B-boy, unemployed android, leaning on the wall so I don't fall into the void. Paranoid B-boy, unemployed android, leaning on the wall so I don't fall into the void. Paranoid, unemployed, leaning on the wall so I don't fall. Y'all, then it's like, I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is this just a dream? So that's like premillennial tension. That's like in the 90s. That leads you up. Y2K, nothing happens. Life goes on. And then you got to try to make a living in spite of all of that. So another thing about like, what are you going to do? Well, of course, we know in the information era, the little guy is getting crushed. The hustler is getting all but eliminated. It's really hard to do it on your own vibration. So with that in mind, we got to give it up for the fact that before the dumpsters got taken out of the alleys in Denver, there were some prosperous dumpsters, if you knew what to do, in the different sides of town, right? So this one's called The Metallurgist, and this is on the new album coming out. Council of Word is the name of my group. New album's called Indigenous, and this is The Metallurgist. Who's that alley cat? Scratching in the trash can is the sample. And then we go, the metallurgist, the heavy purist. Indulge your urges, he's going to curb his. And I'll just kick right to it. Smell it in the morning when there's iron to be had, jumping out the iron lung. Got my body ironclad, never iron clothes. Got iron in my nose, taste blood, drive slow-mo. I know I'm close to a jackpot bonanza, a Sanford and Son, a come up, a score, a princess ransom, a washer, a dryer, a stove, a fridge, set out back for scrap, a salvage. Steady heavy Chevy, get me sonar coordinates. Within the law, in defiance of the ordinance. Fences over it, senseless yet sensing some disturbance in the force. Drift a course north. Copper's top dollar, yet aluminum is plentiful. Canvas near the campus, yo, after the Super Bowl. Me, I really bug off that purple tub. On foot, running 2 blocks in front of the truck. What if I had a fan for every can I had crushed? Will I be a big, well-known man is what? It's junk to a jazz cat. I'm juking my jive. When you dip, dive, and dumps to dive. Who's that alley cat? Doon, 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 scratching in the trash can. The metallurgist, the heavy purist. Indulge your urges, he's gonna curb his. And then it's like, oh yeah. At the scrapyard, cats know that I'm hard. They say, how'd you haul that here with that car? You know it ain't a gag when you exaggerate the truth. I got a photo album of decapitated hoops. Couldn't show it to you, but I could take you sightseeing. Pipe dreaming some perspective over life's meaning. My hearing's tinny, but I got the golden touch. I get her done like Silverton back in the rush. A nugget prospector, here comes the hot stepper. Make a move under cover of harsh weather. See, they put the orange storm fence around the tree, so I thought they'd be scraping off the lot within a week. Keep a weather eye, better I get my spoils before some competitor guy give it a try. So when the backhoe showed on Tobacco Road, I just backed off slow with the packed up load. Gross weight volume, 92 clamps to the ton. Added in the adamantium skeleton. Selling it, telling it, a tale of redevelopment. I'm picking up a frequency, it's speaking to me eloquent. Who's that alley cat? Me. Thanks.
We have a diverse set today. It's wonderful, and I'm also, again, really short. Oh no, that's fine. Us Navajos, we like to be close to the ground. We're just connected to the earth. That's what I like to say. All right, let's keep it going. We have a few more before we bring up our amazing feature. So let's give us a round of applause for Soul Rebel. Woo-hoo! And am I mistaken, but you're a newcomer, right? For our new space? This is your first time here?
I interned here
4
or 5 years ago. A long time ago.
At the Denver Open Media Foundation?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Give it up for Soul Rebel.
Peace. Good evening, everybody. I'll keep it pretty short for y'all. I know it's Friday. People got things to do, places to see. This one's called My Story, featuring special guests, skills, patience, and power. 3 attributes that I see as fitting to describe my story here in Denver. Normally goes to a beat. I'm kind of like, my man, I like to rap, so it's a little different, but bear with me. Now I'ma tell a story about my brother named Skills. Skills was a roller riding round stacking blue bills. Liked to holler at shorties just for the thrills. Started drinking 40s just for the chills. Hot summer day by Sloan's Lake skating wheels. Santa Cruz, DGK skating all the hills. Yo, Skills had a favorite hill and this shit was for real. Called it Triple Bridges. Now picture this position. The top of Tejon Block to the joint that's in the center. I'm flying down on point. In the traffic, I'm the winner. Respecting my ancestors. Northside like 5 Point sister. Skills knew a deeper history within Denver. Skating under Union Station, knowing that they trains were pagan. Shut out my brother Little Raven. At Stoner's Hill, we burning sages. Knowing that they spirits ancient. Skills explored through meditation. Following the drum beat playing to the east side where Skills met patience. I'ma tell the story. Let me kick my story. Tell y'all Denver's story. Patience had potential, infinite up in her mental. She started out so gentle, but her finish was unforgetful. Patience was on point. She was repping 5 points, where she discovered knowledge of self to be anointed. Peep the pigs raising hell, Patience played her angle. Writing facts they can't until they recognized her danger. Show and prove the truth, use mathematics and population. How dollars are inflated, Denver numbers calculated. It was CDs in old days and now it's digital creations. Ways of saving Patience love, who really hate it. Patience in the mountains with her crown and flowing fountain. Mind's eye wide like blue sky in July right by the downing. Patience got high, passing time until her grind was grounded. Stacking dimes, her plan she right until they came around it. Her schedule tight, so sharp refined, her habits she surrounded. That's when inside she realized the power she had found it. Power around the underground game all throughout Denver. He had another street named Yodis, was clever. They called him UVSP main, his power controlled the weather. Medicinal marijuana card was the last thing he remembered. $100 ounce of Gorilla Glue purchased Disposena. Rebel juice letting loose on the streets forever. Get you high, speak your mind, whatever's your endeavor. Meet you by the lakeside and hit you with the special. 2 for 10, 10 for 2, everyone was spending. East Side Growers was the name of our collective. See, when you come from nothing, it changes your perspective. Getting money for them suckers, gaining wisdom is my message.
One more time! Woohoo! All right, we're wrapping down. We just have a few more, and then we will get to our amazing future who we have lined up for you. All right, I think the confusion is going to be fixed now, but let's bring up Stephen Cruz. Yeah, bring up Stephen Cruz, the friend.
All right, this too close? This trying to figure out. Haven't done this in a long time, so I gotta figure it out. All right, so this one doesn't have a name. I wrote it a long time ago. Oh, you're gonna fix it for me? Thank you. Ooh. All right, cool. Is that better? All right, this one doesn't have a name, but you know, cliche, it's about a girl. How I felt about her, right? All right, so I went back to the meadow where I first met her. It was now full of daisies, and the breeze gentle blew across them, creating a glowing effect. She was there also, twirling her hair ever so effortlessly, creating a stir calm in the surrounding. In one delicate hand, they hold several daisies that caress their skin ever so softly, ever so slightly. They turned to look at me with a mysterious smile that seemed to have many secrets, their long pitch black hair falling across their face, creating a dangerous combination of excitement and false sense of security. The once beautiful sundress that held grace and beauty is now disheveled and falling apart. The shoes that once carried her along towards a beautiful future are now torn and ragged. After a second glance, her skin had become pale and translucent, almost like glass. Her eyes that once held so much joy and affection now create a scene of horror. As she turned to look at me, she stayed at a standstill, as if she was one with the meadow. At this moment, I realized that she was not the girl I once knew. She has turned into something grotesque, unrecognizable. Something about her seemed to be from out of this world. When she fully made the turn towards me, I noticed the hand that I put a wedding band around was missing, in such a way that it looked to have been eaten off by an animal. I still remember the sound of her voice when I asked her to marry me. She seemed so hopeful and ecstatic. But the lovely voice far from my mind and now replaced by the snarl of an animal. Her smile that at one point gave me comfort and joy was ever so slightly turned upward as if she recognized me. I took a final step towards her, that person that I thought she was before, realizing that she actually turned into someone I didn't recognize. I saw an animal that was only interested in me as a source of food instead of her companion. I knew then that I had to let her go because the person I was in love, the person I once loved, ooh. Right? All right. I knew then that I had to let her go of the person I once loved because they were far gone from the person that stood before me. By doing this, it allowed me to comfort in the fact that she would now be put to rest in a better place. She opened her mouth as if to say a final grace, making me walk towards her, decaying body even closer than before. She charged at me with what was left of her limbs, flailing, knocking me to the ground. Her razor teeth began to gnaw into my neck. The more I tried to pull away, the more her stubby hand held me down. At this point, I knew both the woman I loved and the man that I've become were gone to this world. Thank you.
Yes, I got it. It was very descriptive. Thank you. Let's give him one more round of applause. It was awesome. When you started out and it was really beautiful and like a love poem, we're like, ooh, just bless us with the love poem. But then it changed, and that was, it was like whiplash, like, oh my God, what just happened there? But I feel like all of this is just wonderful blessings, these words and all of these, experiences, and we just bless ourselves with them, and it's beautiful. So thank you, all of you. So I want to do one quick poem before we bring up our feature, and this, I like to do this one just to kind of be goofy. So I wrote this poem when I was in high school. I was like a junior in high school. That was a lot longer ago than what you probably think, because I got asked recently if I could sit in the emergency exit row on the airplane. Do you know how old you have to be to sit in the emergency exit row on the airplane? 15. I mean, I'm like flattered, but at the same time, I'm like more than double that age. And it was really, really funny. I was like, me? Oh my God. And then I told everyone on the whole plane, like the whole story, and they thought it was so funny. But I wrote this poem when I was in high school. And I like to do my different introductions. So I have my Navajo introduction, and this is my poetic introduction. And it's really silly, but I created it when I was in high school. And I just like to share it to also support and encourage other young people to do their poetic introduction because, that's who we are, and that's what we support each other for. So here it goes. If you don't already know, my name is Hannah Blue, and the whole reason why I'm here is for you. And now it's my turn to ask you, why are you here? For a party? Well, I'm sorry, there's no strippers or beer. What this is something that'll knock you to the floor, and if you feel like you can't handle it, then you can walk back out that door. But if you feel brave enough, then just remain where you sit, because I can assure you that once I get started, you won't be able to handle it. Because this is fast, fly, slide, loose, cool, whatever you see. This is new just for you, totally true, and absolutely drug-free. This is battered, not included, nicely suited, perfectly shooted, and whatever you want it to be. This is crazy, sexy, cool, TLC, all rolled into one just for fun. And ladies and gentlemen, this is poetry. Thank you. And with that introduction, I am going to bring up our amazing feature. Let's give her an amazing round of applause, a drum roll, and everything to bring her up. Bring up Bree Hill. Let's give it up for Bree Hill, our feature for this evening.
I don't know how I became the feature, but I guess I am. First, I want to point out these police lights that y'all stole. I like it. I support it. I support that. It looks nice. So a little bit about myself. My name is Bree Hill. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am a radical, tender, soft, black, queer, non-binary person. Thank you. I recently just graduated from the University of Colorado Boulder. Let's go, Bubs. And yeah, that's it. So I'm going to do one poem that I just wrote for another thing that I'm supposed to do soon, and then I'll do another one that's like cool, I guess. I don't know. But it'll be fun. I come from a Baptist background, so I love clapping, snapping, like your feet on the ground. So if you like something, like just shout. Just shout, just like clap, snap, do something. That's like what I like, just like shake off your like shyness, just like go for it. Yeah? All right, cool. This poem is called Harvest. This is my palace, my sanctuary, my home and my universe. I hold the most power when I am standing still. I have been brought into the world by a fragment of a dream, a grasp of hands so brown like the soil. I became my ancestors' most prized crop. I speak with a sharp tongue, grown and raised by those before me, planted deep in my belly with softness and kisses. I spit the lies of demons out of this flesh, for I know it is holy and I own full autonomy. I have learned this by watching big-armed black women eating watermelon in the sun. I watch them drip and spit and drip and spit and drip and spit, and I think to myself, I can do this too. I can drip the sweats of white supremacy and spit out the bullets, and it'll taste so f***ing sweet. I hold all the chains, bear all the scars of my enslaved ancestors. When I lay my body at night, I dream of the nights they lost theirs. This body has never felt like home. I seek the outside, beyond the binary, beyond the hands of folks who think they know what's best for me. My brown body, this brown skin, lives in the borderlands of living and dead. I bury it when the world gets too much, take the lies of the government as fertilizer, and pick the crops of revolution anew. I hold the skills to coat tongues in the sweetest honey ever experienced with consent. The skills to birth ancient bundles of medicine. That is a shout out to Josie. Medicine so colorful like seeds and precious as water. They would heal this world over and over again if I planted them. These skills and these seeds are mine, and only I may choose when to harness them and when to harvest them. Not him, not her, and not them. And now is not the time to use them. Now is the time to take all the little black children, cover them in revolutionary love, cleanse their generational trauma, clung to their bodies from the sea with salt, teach them that their blackness is a magnet that draws love, and they should love it every single day. Now is the time to find all the little brown children, navigate them by the stars in the way that the cacti grow, to break them free from the cages that are cold as ice, to show them that the land belongs to them and only they know how to protect it. I will tell these children that they are magical. I will tell these children now is not the time to wait. I will tell them to spit out the seeds and plant them. I will tell them it is time to harvest. Ashe. Nice. Cool. This one is a fun, cool one that I did for my school's graduation ceremony, and I think it's fun and cool. It's called Change, and it is a call and response. Like I said, comes from a Baptist household, call and response. So when I say, if I can change the world, y'all say, what would you do? Got it? So if I could change the world, what would you do? If I could change the world, what would you do? If I could change the world, what would you do? I would go to the bottom of the ocean, place offerings of whiskey and cassava, tend to the spirits and creatures who pick my ancestors' flesh clean. I would go to the depths of hell, I mean the White House, I mean these institutions, scrape the tongues of demons of their words of minority. Boy, they do not have the luxury of naming me anymore. If I could change the world. If I could change the world? I would break down anything that looks like a wall. I want to see the possibility that makes these white people fear. I want to see the possibility that makes the society tremble with humility. I would begin to unravel all the bodies that come to me, free them of their shackles of heteronormativity. It would be like the end of The Wiz, where everyone comes out of their skin dressed in beautifully golden yellow, singing, "It's a brand new day, free at last from the wicked witch bitch of the United States power." It would be a party. But if I could change the world, if I could change the world, I would take all the black children, take them to the water, tell them that I love them, tell them I miss my dad too. I would tell them that our mothers, our grandmothers, and our women are our saviors and providers, and we should thank them more. I would begin to drown them when they ask for liberation, for the water is freedom. This is their baptismal, sinners no more from this world's cruel hands. I have made revolutionary angels, and you're welcome. Their halos comprise of the coils and curls of the 4C texture, and you can't touch it. I would begin to educate them of texts of Baldwin, Lord, Fanon, and Zaldua. They'd be so smart and so beautiful. I'd begin to rub sweet golden honey on their melanated skin, leave no space smooth, and you can't touch it. And you can't touch these children, and you can't touch their minds, and you can't touch their futures, because if you try and touch them, you will be missing more than just a tongue. I would keep them safe with me, and our revolutionary love built heaven, and you're not welcome. If I could change the world, if I could change the world, I would take all the little black boys, hold them close to me, remind myself that the world knows nothing on how to love a black boy, so I'll do it for them. I'll take all the little black girls, stick them back underneath my ribs, explain to them that their fastness is a lie and that their body pledge allegiance to no one but their own. I would tell these children that there is nothing wrong with them. I would tell these children it is okay to cry. I would tell these children it is okay to give up and try again. If I could change the world, what would you do? Nah, I want to hear from you. What would you do? How would you change it? Am I alive in your world, or am I drowning? What offerings would you give to me? A halo, some honey, whiskey of my choice? Am I alive in your world, or am I in the ocean? Ashe.
And that's a perfect segue, because we do want to hear from you and how we want to change the world. So please, the other thing we wanted to mention is that, again, we are looking for some input, your ideas for our new name. And we during the last open mic, we talked about how we wanted to have a new name before this one, but we want to put a lot of thought into it. And we have been putting a lot of thought into it. And we heard your suggestions from the last time, but we're going to have a meeting. So look out for your emails for a meeting that we're going to be having to invite you to come and give some input to that. But we also want to hear your thoughts about these open mics. It's the second one that we've had in this space. So we want to get your thoughts and your input on how this is going, how we can improve, what features you want to have at the next open mics, what vendors you want to have, what organizations you want featured, and we want to get your input on that. So please look out for your email for that. We're really excited for that, and we appreciate you all coming tonight. So let's give a round of applause for everyone who came up and graced the stage. Blessed us with their words, so take it and put it on yourself and go off and continue to do the great work that you do and continue to share your words and your experience. Any other ending ideas or thoughts or comments from our folks, our board members, or our, yep, okay, all right, bring it up for Jenny!
I just have a comment. So, if you guys liked Bree and their poems, let's, give a little coin to their Venmo or something. Go up to them, go up to me, we can give them a little cash, that's it, bye.
We do always provide some compensation for our speakers, but we do also like to share the wealth, right? So everyone who shares their experience and their love and their words, please feel free to go up to them and ask them for their Venmo or what's the other one for Venmo? I don't use Venmo. Cash Out. PayPal. I use the PayPal. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. They had some security breaches, though, so I don't know. Be careful with that. Maybe use a Venmo. Maybe that's better. I don't know. All right, anything else from our board members or anyone else who wants to make a comment before we close out? Oh, you did too. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. We're going to hang around. Again, if you want to come up and give us some feedback or have some thoughts for our new name, please feel free to. Well, all the board members and people involved with the organization, please raise your hands. Few people? Awesome. Yeah. All right. Great. So please feel free to come up to us, give us feedback, and we love to hear from you. Thank you. Travel safe, be well, and hagonet. Goodbye.